Hey YouTube, it's Hedgehog. I know I haven't done a video in a while, so I thought I'll do an album review. And seeing as I went to go see Greyson Chance recently at the Drake Hotel, which, brilliant performance by the way, Greyson, I thought I'll do an album review of his current album that he has released, Portrals. And seeing as I don't have a cover art right here to show you, I will simply stand back and show you the front of my t-shirt because it's the same art. There you go. There's the cover art for his album. Obviously, if I got a chance to buy a physical copy of it, that'd be great. Anyway, let's jump into the review, shall we? Track 1 is his single, Shut Up. And I love in the intro how it's that sort of weird sort of echoey effect on his voice. It's really, really cool. And especially when you're listening on headphones, it's really amazing. The verses, I think the vocal melody matches the song's rhythm very well because it's something I've noticed quite recently. A lot of pop music either lacks rhythm or it's regimented, too much regimented rhythm. And I feel listening to Greyson Chance, it is a blend of the two. Anyway, on to the chorus lines. Shut up. I think he has a very amazing range to hit those low notes and high notes. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Freddie Mercury, like how Freddie Mercury was able to hit the lower register and the higher register, even though he was a baritone. Anyway, I guess like going into the breakdown or the bridge or whatever section you want to call this part of the song, I really enjoy the rhythm because this ties back to what I said with the verse, where like I think a lot of pop music nowadays either lacks rhythm or there's too much of it. So it's a beautiful blend of the two. Anyway, jumping on to track number 2, Bleed You Still. So I think in the verses it's very cleverly worded lyric-wise and how it leads into the chorus line. Although for the choruses, I'm not sure if the whole he's going into the higher register for all the chorus lines, if that's just what he's doing for the album. If that's what he's doing, hey, fantastic. You know, kudos on you, man. It's your album. Do as you see fit. I guess I go going into track 3, Yours. Again, tying onto the rhythm. It basically is very pleasant to the ear, and it makes it flows very nicely into the chorus lines of the song, and that's what I love about this song. It's not just like, you know, verse part, sharp cut, chorus, you know, sharp cut, verse. It's like there's that nice flow, which is what I think a lot of musicians nowadays should at least start trying to do. And at least like I always try and do that when I write stuff myself, whether it's, you know, stories or songs or whatever, but I always try and think, how would this flow into the next part? Anyway, let's go into the next track, shall we? So, track 4 leads into track 5 because it's just like a little blurb or a little speech that he was saying about when he was at his brother's like fraternity. He basically cussed on stage and his mom said, hey, you know, raising you to be a man, not a little boy, which is really clever. And then how he mentions in track 4, Planes, how she used to smoke cigarettes, and how in the first verse of track 5, which is what I'll lead into now, it does mention the same brand of cigarettes that she smoked. So I think for the going still on track 5, the chorus is I like the sort of meaning of the chorus lines. I feel that like it ties into, as I said, track 4 brilliantly, saying that, you know, young boys act, you know, very childish, and if you want to be a man, you shouldn't act childish because, you know, no one's going to take you seriously. Anyway, track 6, White Roses. I like how, I don't know if this is what exactly he was writing the song about, but I like how the song, for me, is about heartbreak and getting over heartbreak. Because I think we've all been there. We've all been in a state where it's like our ex-boyfriends or girlfriends have, broken our hearts, and we're not sort of like in this like good headspace. So it's getting over the heartbreak. I mean, obviously mine experience a little bit more personalized than the viewers here in Greyson Chance's, but I like the fact that it does talk about heartbreak, and it does reference it in a very beautiful and poignant way. Like with track 4 and 5, 7 and 8 do that same sort of thing. 7 ties into 8 really beautifully. Track 7 is called Lights, and I like how it's like, it sounded like he was like recording it on his phone, like he was in like a taxi or a limo, saying that he wanted to go to a strip club. And it's the fact that like it does sound like that distorted audio that most sort of phone recordings do sound like, but I think for this one going into track 8, it works brilliantly. Now track 8, Black on Black. I remember when he was performing it live at the Drake Hotel. I think he was like wearing a t-shirt that said TOR for Toronto, and then the lead into that song is he takes the shirt off and he puts a black shirt on, which very clever. For the song itself, I can only express how I feel about the song, which I think the song is more about the concept of lust. You are, as mentioned in the previous track, going to a strip club, lusting after women or men or whatever the fuck you're into, so be it. But I like that fact how it's like, it's that concept of you're just simply lusting after them. You're not, you don't want a relationship. You're just like, I just want to fuck and then leave. That's it. Very Barney Stinson and Joe Tribbiani. Anyway, on to track 9. Seasons of 19. Now, yeah, just changing the page for a second. I get that part, or maybe the whole song, is about regret. Obviously, if any of the viewers watching this video want the real meaning behind it, you'd have to find Greyson Chance and ask about, is that song about regret? But for me, when I listen to it, I hear that it's about regret, and that you are sort of lamenting after something that you either lost or that you want back, but you can't have. I think let's move on to track 10, Timekeeper. I'm not sure if this is correct, Greyson. You either have to comment below or message me on one of my social medias, but I believe it was about your ex-boyfriend, because I think when I was at the Drake Hotel, you're like, oh, I wish my ex-boyfriend would hear this. Obviously I'm not entirely sure if it is about his ex-boyfriend, but anybody out there who is listening to it, like, I feel, even when I was listening to it, it did have a lot of, like, I guess, very sort of personalized jabs at his ex-boyfriend. Obviously, I'm not sure because I'm not the one who wrote the song. All I can say is just my impression of the song. I think going on, still on track 10, I think when you are talking about your ex, as I said, the only example I can use is my ex-girlfriend. I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to do that. That's just not me. And obviously, I'm not really going to say too much about it. All I'm going to say is just it didn't work out with us, so we broke up because of that. But the point is, with my ex-girlfriend, I always sort of felt like there was a bit of friction and that we were not able to move past that friction. And listening to Timekeeper, as I said, obviously, like, as I said before, I think there's a lot of personal jabs at his ex-boyfriend, but I think it's that same sort of thing of, like, when you do get out of a relationship, it is that sort of thing. You have one of two options. You can either be, oh, they were a total fucking prick, they were a total bitch, they did this, I fucking hated it. Or you can simply take the higher road and be like, look, it didn't work out with us, I wish them well, but it just didn't work out. Anyway, let's move on to track 11, Stand. Really love the name, and I really love how it ties into the song itself. I get the feeling when I heard it that it's about sort of dusting yourself off, whether it's an interview you didn't get or love lost or whatever. Like I feel that whole point of the song Stand is basically saying, look, this bad thing has happened to you. Yes, the rug's pulled out from under your feet, but you have to stand up and continue to soldier on to get what it is you want, or to get something that you want out of life, whether it's career-wise, love, or financial-wise. Because everybody knows in today's economy, unless you're fucking rich, you can't afford a fucking house. Anyway. Or at least here in Canada. Thank you, Justin Trudeau. So, the last track off the album is called Lakeshore. I get the feeling that Greyson's singing about someone that he's yearning for that particular someone to either come back to him, or he's singing about someone that he is currently interested in dating. But I get that feeling of yearning. And it does kind of remind me of Queen's song, Love of My Life. Like, I don't really know how to describe how it reminds me of that, but maybe it's the fact of that, the thing tying them together that reminds me of that song is the concept of love or yearning for love. And I really think in terms of a closing track, it's a really great way to close the album, because it leaves the album very open-ended for anybody who's listening to the album. Either they can say, I feel very happy now, and I feel like I've expressed some sort of anger, or I've expelled some sort of demon out of me that I was holding on to and harboring. And I feel like with this song, as I said, it's one of those that just kind of like washes over you like a lakeshore. Yeah, funny. Yeah. Anyway, so to end the review, what would I give the album out of 10? Or actually no, 5. We'll use 5 because I was using 5 stars as like the reference, or a reference when I was reviewing it. So for me, I would give it a good maybe 4.5. Like, yes, there were some songs where I really just didn't like it, either because it's like, oh, it was too synthy, or it was too much of this. But that's a very petty sort of viewpoint. But for me, when I do listen to a song, I'm listening to the rhythm section, the drums, the bass, and the rhythm guitar, and I'm thinking, does this rhythm pull me into the song? Does this rhythm move me? So most of the songs that he has on that album have moved me in some sort of way. And as I said, the last track, it does leave it very open-ended. So if any of you are wondering, should I pick up this album? I think you should. Because, as I said before, I feel like once you've done listening to it, you feel like you've either sort of expressed you've got some sort of anger, or something that you've been bottling up. I feel like this album sort of helps you release that pent-up emotion through these songs. So, Greyson Chance, if you're watching, that's, kudos on you. Oh, and I guess one way I can end this video is I'm going to pose a question to Mr. Greyson Chance. My question to you, from any one of those tracks, from 1 to 12, was there a song on that album that either you found particularly vexing, as in you couldn't get a melody down, or you couldn't get a guitar part down and it was frustrating you? And if so, what song was it, and how did you go about remedying the situation. So hopefully Greyson Chance gets a chance to answer that question. That would be fantastic. I've left my links in the bottom. So Instagram and Twitter, if you want to go down and follow me there, fantastic. Subscribe. I don't know if my channel has the bell icon, but if my channel has the bell icon, hit the bell. And I guess that's it. Anyway, F with you later, YouTube.